What is ideology? Ideology is a shared system of beliefs, values, attitudes, and ideas that cohesively form a central belief. These bodies of ideas reflect on the social needs and aspirations of an individual group, class, or culture, which can influence people's beliefs and actions. Ideologies vary depending on an individual being oblivious or skeptical to these subtle political hints. Why film? Ideology is prevalent in all films, and in most people's opinion, it is the most essential and effective way of communicating ideas and central beliefs without implying it in obvious ways. Film in today's society is the premier method for entertainment. Directors and writers take advantage of this to discuss historical or modern problematic events. It's so easy to draw a person into the cinema, and what better way to tell someone to their face that feminism, for example, needs to be addressed than that through the art of film. What forms of ideology are prevalent in film? There is most certainly no shortage of ideologies. These societal issues have been accumulating over the past few hundred years and more. Some have been addressed and resolved, but elements of some are still thriving today. Some popular political ideologies that have been addressed in films are Marxism, patriarchy, capitalism, anti-colonialism, feminism, and equality. These are only but a few examples. How has the ideology of class been communicated on screen? Ideologies are communicated in various ways throughout the media industry, that is film. Using two film examples, I'm going to discuss the methods of communication that these particular films show referencing class. Avatar, anti-colonialism. In 2009's Avatar, we follow through the life of a paraplegic Marine that embarks on a journey to the moon of Pandora. His mission becomes torn between following his orders and protecting the native world he feels is his home. Avatar is a modern sci-fi representation of this colonialization in its pure stereotypical form, being a more powerful high-class group overpowering and claiming an already owned people and location, being the lower and vulnerable class. This idea has been adapted off of historical colonialization examples that have vastly affected a particular culture, such as white settlement. In the white settlement, we know of the removal of the Aborigines from their land and dehumanizing them into a more vulnerable lower group of people compared to the whites. We see this in Avatar as the human race land on an already populated moon, and attempt to take the land from the native people for their own economic advantages. The location of which Avatar is set is covered in forests and lakes that resemble Earth's. This implies that the native population represents humanity, while the human race represents colonization, as shown in their dependency upon machines and other forms of heavy weaponry. These two classes are contrasted by colours in the skin and the location, the indigenous being colourful and the human race being dark and bland. The idea behind Avatar is to shed light upon the horrific experiences the natives underwent in being removed from their homeland, dehumanized and segregated into classes. X-Men franchise, equality. The X-Men franchise consists of a world filled with hate and prejudice. Mutants are feared by those who cannot accept their differences. Led by Xavier, the X-Men fight to protect a world that fears them. They are locked in a battle with former colleague and friend Magneto, who believes humans and mutants should never coexist. Beginning as a comic book series and now a movie series, the X-Men have been known around the world as a powerful perspective into the eyes of those who are different, as they are frowned upon and segregated into a society that is shamed. The X-Men represent any minority that has been oppressed and ostracized. This ideology is important as the issue of equality and class is still being faced today. The way this idea has been implemented into film is so that it can reach a vast amount of audiences, young and old. This is shown in the characters, as some are adults and most are children. This is done purposefully so that the younger audiences can relate to the fictional characters. The mutant abilities represent mental disabilities and disorders being a lower class society. The normal humans represent the society that rejects these people being the higher class. The conflict between Xavier and Magneto is the metaphorical battle that we still see today, the battle for indifference among lower class of the mentally disabled and those who are considered normal. In embodying these conflicting ideas into characters with superhuman abilities, the audience then understand their values and beliefs a lot easier. This therefore draws to people's attention a lot more effectively. The goal of the directors and writers is to be a voice for those who aren't in a position to have one. Those kids and adults that suffer with these difficulties have someone to relate to, being the mutants with superpowers. The inspirational story of the mutants fighting for who they are and fighting for their freedom is the filmmaker's way of communicating that everyone has a voice, and everyone deserves to be treated fairly. Equality in social class groups, no matter what the differences may be, everybody has a voice. What is the effect of these representations for audiences and filmmakers? These messages can affect filmmakers just as much as the audience. These messages inspire ideologies within directors and writers to create their own films with their own ideologies. This creates a domino effect of creativity and inspiring ideas to further highlight societal issues in the world both historically and currently. This inspires and promotes change within the audience and creates debate as people form their own ideologies and possibly shift their beliefs. These ideas educate and highlight issues that need to be addressed. What better way than to do it in the most popular form of entertainment? Ideology is a system of beliefs that are characteristic of a particular class or group. Its meaning has gradually been extended to other academic fields, and it is a concept increasingly called upon in media and film studies. Its representations in film have been a revolutionary idea and its extremely effective way of communicating ideas and beliefs through the arts of film language and techniques. The effect of communicating ideologies in film is essential for a successful and engaging media form. Next time you watch a movie, consider these ideologies and think about how they affect you and relate to you or anyone else in any way. It is guaranteed that they will make you think and question your own ideas and beliefs for the better. Comma. Prevalent in all films and in most people. Way to tell someone to face advantage of this to discuss historical and cinema. And what would this is pissing me off. Most certainly no short of. This idea has been adapted off of historical canonic. Samalama Doomalama. Don't do that, you're gonna make me laugh. Get it out, get the laughies out. Project's due tonight, project's due tonight. Far out, more people. Yeah, the X-Men fight. Oh, go, sorry. Pauses, Toby. Far out, my punctuation. X-Men franchise.
That was my name.
Far out. Get the cracks out now. Roxy being rolled over by a roller. Roxy being rolled over by a roller. No. Our society and the normal humans represent. No, that doesn't make sense! And the normal humans represent. That doesn't make sense, Toby, you head. Lower class. Into characters with the superhuman abilities. The goal of the directors and writers is to be a voice for those who aren't. That suffer with these difficulties, have someone, no. Those kids and adults that suffer with these difficulties. How hard is that? Its meaning has no.